So thanks to all those Uber pimps who've been collecting signatures at $4 a pop at supermarkets in public places. Uber, Lyft, and DoorDash campaign for California gig law exemption has reached 1 million signatures. Let's do the quick math. 1 million times 4. They splash out $4 million to buy themselves an election, to buy themselves a spot on the ballot in November. How did Uber and Lyft do this? Just like many other companies have done, big pharmaceutical companies, etc. You go out there and you buy the vote. The sad thing is, I see this guy here all dressed up in his suit with his goggles. This is what I call a classic Uber pimp. His name is Ken Zendels. Shame on you, Ken, for selling out drivers. I don't think this guy remotely even knows what he's doing here. He's hungry for those $4 per signature pops, and collectively all these Uber pimps have reached 1 million signatures. You're basically paying the shills, and how you're doing it is you hiring companies to get a dick like Ken out there in his suit in the sun to put the fear into people. It's very easy. Hey, have you ever taken an Uber or a Lyft? Right? Yeah, I've taken Uber. Well, guess what? Your rates may be going up. So it's all based on. I've listened to these shows, right? I can see how they do it. I've heard how they do it. They put the fear into the rider, and it's very easy. They then get the rider to offer their signature. Oh, by the way, put your signature on this ballot here. Otherwise, you're going to be paying more for your trip. So they use very, very underhanded tactics and techniques. Ken Zendel got the memo. He goes out there and then just sets up his little fake desk there and then starts collecting $4 a pop. And I wouldn't be surprised if the guy goes out there, gets 100 signatures quickly, makes $400. But the bottom line is you've sold your soul to the devil. That's what you have, right? And they may not know it, but, karma, I believe in karma. So by putting out this false message for Uber and Lyft, putting fear into riders, getting a signature, getting paid $4 for it, you know what? At the end of the day, it comes back and bites you in a big way. Get ready for a blizzard of advertising about protecting freedom by Uber, Lyft, DoorDash, and other on-demand services. It's a $110 million campaign at the ballot measure. So this is how they did it, folks. They actually managed to get those signatures. Now, the one thing I want to look at here is they only, I think they only need like over 600,000 official, genuine signatures. And what happens with those 1 million, it goes for verification. They cross-check it. Does this person exist at this address? Every address has to be cross-checked. And then if it is a legitimate signature matched up with a legitimate address, it counts as a vote. And I believe you have to get over, I think it's over 600,000 signatures to get onto that ballot. So whatever Uber and Lyft did here, it worked. Now, how does California handle this? Well, you can't come out with AB5, right, and then let a company outsmart you with $110 million collecting signatures, right? What California needs to do is they hold the license, right? They can issue fines. Why not come out and say, okay, for every driver that you're not complying with under AB5, there's a $1,000 fine. And then quickly 300,000 drivers add up to a substantial few $100 million fine. Hit them with the fine, right? That is how you have to act if you're California. Now, if you're fast asleep and you don't know how to implement AB5, the states ladies of California, then don't be surprised if they get this on the ballot and they win, right? So you have to, as the state, exercise your laws that you have to put in place. Uber and Lyft are notorious for not following laws, right? They don't comply in Colombia, they don't comply in Germany, they don't comply in London. Sue them, or they will sue you. and they will buy time in the court system. So California has to act. And the way I think they should do it is say, okay, you know what, we can see you've splashed out $110 million. You got your signatures. You're on your way to the November ballot, right? On the AB5 issue. You will win it hands down based on fear mongering and fear marketing, because you're basically appealing to the rider, telling them, hey, you know what? They're going to run a couple of ads 2 weeks before those elections in November and say, make sure you protect your current rates as a rider. Make sure they don't go up. Vote so-and-so on AB5. That's how they do it, right? That's how they run campaigns. But California, if you are listening, right, you hold their licenses. You got to revoke. I don't think like revoking the license from Uber and Lyft would be the way to go, because then you're leaving the rider stranded on the road, and then they will be pissed off with the state and pissed off with the politicians. The way to do it is the following: to say, okay, you know, we brought out this law, you're not complying, right? Instead, you sued us. You're out there collecting signatures. Guess what? For non-compliance, there is now a $1,000 fine per driver. That's how you do it, right? And you act on that, and then you will quickly see you hit them with a $300 to $500 million fine, you know, for violating AB5, and you'll see what will happen. You force them to the table. So this is all a negotiating process where I believe California has to ramp up the volume, right? Because what we want to ultimately achieve, you know, behind the scenes, obviously Uber and Lyft and DoorDash are doing this, they're collecting the signatures, California is doing this, but what we ultimately want to see is that we have this new hybrid. We don't really want to be employees, and we truly want to be treated as true independent contractors. They're not doing that. They say they're doing that, but they're not doing it. Can they come up with a new gig worker hybrid law that gives better benefits, better pay, and all the flexibility that we deserve to accept decline, trips, etc., so that other states can start following suit? Remember that other states are just watching. Why, as a state, jump into the mix and start spending money when you're looking at the outcome of AB5 in California? So again, Lorena Gonzalez, the lady that got this rolling in San Diego, I spoke to their officers. You have to act, otherwise you look weak, right? And the way you do it is with fines. There's no better way than doing it than saying, hey, you're not in compliance, X amount of dollar fine per individual you're violating, period, right? And then give them 30 days to pay. They don't pay, then hit them with a lawsuit, right? Because if California would bring a fine for $500 million based on the amount of drivers, they would win that in the court based on the law that's in effect as of January, right? So, guys, get creative here. And again, shame on the guys like Ken Zendels. Shame on you for taking signatures and then getting paid $4 per signature to sell drivers outright. Karma's a bitch. That's all I have to say. Have a great day.